Hello and welcome back to Overthought Gaming. Today, well, this is out of the blue and something different. This is something my friends recommended I should probably record and upload for people to see. It is a build for the Elder Scrolls Online, ESO, for their Infinite Archive Arena, or Dungeon, whatever you want to call it. This is based around the Dragonite, and it is a 1-bar build. So yes, Oakensoul is going to be used. I know that's sometimes questionable. I don't care. It works for this build for me. But I came up with this build to get a armor set off the Golden Pursuits, and I had to tackle Infinite Archive. So there you go. This is something that is created with the Reach DLC and older stuff, no spell scribing, and really only scries the major other weird passive you need. So, but let's get into it, get started. So to start with, attribute-wise, you want to go about 30 into Magica, 34 into health. You can, flip those 4 points around if you want. I wanted to be a little more tanky, so I put 34 points into health. This will also come into effect helping us with some of the damage shields here in a little bit, and their effectiveness. So, but 30 into Magica, so I have a good Magica pool. 34 into health to really help with that. Gear-wise, this was a toss-up because I spent a lot of time playing around with different sets from Cyril's Crest to Red Mountain and a few others. Let's see here, yeah. Red Mountain, Blood Moon. It worked as long as I was playing Werewolf. Not the best thing in Infinite Archive, but it's got my second best score, so that's to say something. But anyways, this build actually has my best score. So, anyways, so I ended up going through, just looking through what I had access to, seeing what I had on character. I ended up actually going with the first set, which is craftable, Ancient Dragon Guard. I used it for its, boost to health, the weapon and spell damage boost, the boost to critical chance, which the game seems to like critical, the more often you crit, the better. And then the fifth reason is actually the flip-flop of spell damage and physical and spell resistance. So, when you run in the 5-piece bonus, you get 300 weapon and spell damage. When your health's above 50%, as soon as you drop, you become much more tanky, where it adds, almost 3,500 to your physical and spell resistance. Very useful, especially when you have to tank multiple Marauders. Makes it much easier to take their blows. The second set I went with was Void Caller. Void Caller is one of those sets that I wasn't really thinking of, but out of everything I had, quick access to that I could quickly, either pull out of my bank or quickly transmute, Void Caller is what I actually had the most of, and which is why I went with it. Night Mothers could be another set that would work, but I ended up going with Void Caller. It actually works really well, especially since you're tanking, you can take hits. You actually get to play off Void Caller's 5-set bonus, where it will increase your spell damage, or you'll get your spell damage buff stacks, so very useful. But to start with, this wasn't my first choice, but it ended up working out really well. But really to start is what I based it off as was the Ancient Dragon Guards set. I ended up doing the Ancient Dragon Guard Cuirass with Stamina enchant on it just to boost my stamina a little bit, and Divines. Divines just up the Mundus Stone. I also did the Ancient Dragon Guard Amulet with weapon and spell damage. Physical spell, whatever the one is. They've changed the naming around a little bit, but this is Magical Harm. So you get a little bit of Magical recovery with the spell enchant and the extra damage. And then for trait on the jewelry, Bloodthirsty, I want to increase that spell damage as much as possible once you get the enemies going. So that will be consistent across all the jewelry pieces. Same thing with the Ancient Dragon Guard Ring. Same setup. So, Where that changes and the sets differ a little bit is the Oakensoul Ring. So it's a 1-bar build. This one I've got a try recovery effect on, just to help with a little bit of stamina recovery and whatnot. You could probably flip this to more, magical harm and get that extra kick. But this was working for me, so I'm going to leave it as is. And again, Bloodthirsty. So, for the weapon, I was using a Ancient Dragon Guards Lightning Staff in Infused to increase the weapon enchantment. And I have a weapon damage enchantment on it. You could probably flip that to maybe a flame or lightning enchant. I just like straight up weapon damage. Though with DKs, the extra flame damage cannot hurt. So, there's that. And it really does work out well. As for Mundus, just to flip back over to here, you can go with the Lover or the Thief. I'm using the Thief because I tend to like going with critical strike rating more than anything. And then for buff food, we're going with Witch Mother's Potent Brew. So, overall, just really good. Just all around good set. Increases your Magica recovery, which you're going to be using a lot, and your max health. This isn't the most potent stuff, I will admit that. There are better, but this is just what I happen to have laying around, and it's what I was using. I actually have a lot of it laying around, like 5 stacks worth, so hence why I went with it. Skill-wise, you're going to want all your class passives. Same with the weapon, you're going to want all the passives for your destruction staff. All the armors, you're going to want especially the light. Medium and heavy you can get away with probably just putting in the ones where it gets you the bonus without needing the 5-piece, which is very useful. World-wise, really, the only passives you really need are for scrying, so you can actually scry and find Oakensoul. And I completely skipped over my helmet, so we'll go back to that here in just a second. Or right now, because I'm thinking about it. Yes, Oakensoul, this is how my world goes and why I overthink stuff. So, anyways, the final piece to the armor puzzle is Valkyn's Skoria. Though you could probably swap this out for something different. I just happen to have this laying around in my thing, and voila. But Valkyn's Skoria for the offensive penetration, you could also do something like, Slime Claw or something. Just another set that increases, critical rating. So, anyways, now that I've remembered that, back to the skills. Scrying's the only, big DLC skill set you need. Soul Magic, whatever you want. I usually do Solok, just to have that. Guild-wise, you're also going to want all the Mage's Guild passives for one skill on the bar. And Undaunted, I'm going to say you want the passes if you have them. They're useful to have, and I'm not going to deny that. Other than that, you're going to want your racial passives. So, I'm doing this on a Khajiit, so I'm more crit focused. You can probably play around with this for any class, because they're so close now, it's just pick your favorite and run with it. But as for the build itself, skill-wise, as soon as I click the right button again, this is a Magica-based build. Very much old-school Magica, where I'm focused mostly on Magica use. So, to start with, the first skill, which is probably one of my least hit ones next to number 5. The way I set my bar up is 1's least, 2nd's most, and 1's the 2nd most least used. Basically, number 3's the most, and then out from there they become less. 5 being the hardest to hit. So that's usually my heal. Anyways, first skill, let's see, that is the Mage's Guild Entropy into... Come on. Yeah, Entropy into Degeneration. Gives you a, good damage over time. And then it also grants you Major Brutality and Major Sorcery, which are very useful buffs to get, helping increase that weapon and spell damage. I tend to put this on the big boss to help, hit everything, let it tick down, and then I'm, spamming usually Force Pulse, which is the spammable, which flows right into that, depending on range. So normally it'll go Degeneration for the damage over time, and then under Adriant Flame, Fiery Breath into Engulfing Flames. Again, another dot. Try to put this on as many enemies as possible to help take them down. I realize that a lot of the enemies are more ranged now in the game, make it a little harder to, pack them up nicely for this to hit hard. But it also doubles as a great AoE instant damage move, because it hits hard and it hits fast. Only downside is it does chew Magica pretty bad. So take it with a grain of salt. It's a great, if you're stuck with a lot of mobs right near you and you need to burn them down fast, use it. But, just try and put it down as the dot. The third skill is Force Pulse out of the Destruction Staff skill line. Well, Force Shock into Force Pulse. And, it's my focus. Really, it's a great single target damage that does hit nearby enemies, which is great. Fairly strong attack. Just really good overall range. You can beat down some of the big guys at range and keep dancing around Marauders when you need to. The next skill out of the Draconic Power skill line is Hardened Armor, or Spiked Armor into Hardened Armor. This is your defense buff and damage shield for this build. I actually mostly got it for the damage shield, but the extra defense buff when you're going through combat is very useful. Helps keep you alive. And then the, damage shield, get that for 6 seconds, refresh it as needed. And it also reflects damage to the enemy, which is great, especially when you're in a big attack. So, always good stuff. The final main skill off this is Dragon Blood into Green Dragon Blood. You could probably use the other one too, but I chose this one because it gave me Major Fortitude and Major Endurance and Minor Vitality. So, it's, what can I say? This combined with Hardened Armor definitely help with the damage shield, because this helps strengthen the damage shield. So when this is running in Hardened Armor, you have a pretty potent damage shield you can tank a fair few Marauders with. I've had to tank more than a couple Marauders, so. But great little combo. The final skill is actually out of the Earthen Heart, and it's Corrosive Armor. This is really your poo skill, or whatever you want to say. This is, you're really fighting hard, you need to basically stay up, use this. For the most part, you don't need it in the build. It's there to hold your ultimate, which I'll get to why you want to have your ultimate at 500 at all the time here shortly. So, but I chose, Magma Armor and Corrosive, so that way, and you do use it, you are poisoning the enemies near you. So, very useful. As for slottable CP, well, you're going to want all your passive CP. Brain going faster than mouth again. Your crafting CP, green tree, whatever, put what you want in as your favorites. The warfare tree, you're going to want all your passives, which are a fair few. And I'm going to admit, I probably overdid it on a couple of these, especially in the, the extended might tree, where I have both the, the traditional spell damage buffs and the martial ones. So, it is what it is. There's probably a little fat trimming you can do on this to make it a little more optimized and a little more versatile, but it's working for me. But for slottable CP, you're going to want Reaving Blows, which every time you do a direct damage attack, which Force Pulse and Engulfing Flames are, great, when you at least kick them off, great little boost to get 8% of the damage healed back to you, helps you stay alive. To go with that, we've got Wrathful Strikes to just help increase your weapon and spell damage. And on top of that one, we've got Untamed Aggression doing the same thing. Just trying to boost that weapon and spell damage. And to finally top it off, we're using Master at Arms to increase the damage with our direct attacks. So Force Pulse, Engulfing Flames, I believe Degeneration follows it, though that could be a damage over time one. So that one may not fit this, but it helps most of the skills we use. Again, just helping do extra damage per hit. As for the red tree, the fitness tree, again, you're going to all your passives. I'm short a couple because I'm still playing with the tree to figure out how best to get to the stuff I want. Let's just put it that way. But for slottable stuff, you're going to Boundless Vitality for the extra health boost, Fortified for the extra armor per stage, and this is where it gets a little fun. Bastion increases the effectiveness of your damage shield, so Hardened Armor's damage shield gets yet another buff, which is great. And you do more against shielded enemies, which I've found in Infinite Archive are quite a few. And even in Maelstrom Arena and whatnot. And then Strategic Reserve. This is sort of what helps make the cake of the build, because this gives you an insane amount of health recovery. Especially if your ultimate is at 500. So an extra 30 health recovery for every 10 ultimate. That's pretty good. Really adds a lot to the build. And then that is, sort of the basics of how you get this build, where you've got, you are definitely, you've got a much more health-heavy character than a Magica. You could probably flip, these points around a little bit to get a little more Magica and a little less health. But this is where I like it. You've got decent punch in most of the stats, so... And really, when, you actually activate Hardened Armor, your physical resistance and spell resistance are, pretty much 20k, which is very useful. Which, that's pretty much the upper limit of what you can do spell resistance-wise. Spell resistance and physical resistance in the game. So, very useful. But that is sort of the build in a nutshell. I'm not going to say it's a huge DPS build, but let's just go take it out and do something. I know of a... nope, that's the wrong one. Over here. There's usually a pretty good boss right here. That's a good telltale sign of just how your build's going to do. But let's just, go out and I'll show it off a little bit and then maybe run a couple... run around Infinite Archive for a couple levels just to, show what it's about. Now, is the boss home? Or is the boss not home? Nope, the boss is home. That's good. Yes. So, this is one of the harder overland bosses I've ever fought. Just because it summons stuff like these little Spriggans and whatnot that you have to constantly get rid of. So, but this build is really meant to stay alive. So, but yeah, as you notice, I am fairly hard to take down. Do that, pop a shield. And it makes this considerably harder to take down. Will you die already? But this is what makes... This build is definitely a survivability build. There is... Come on, break free. This build is based around just staying alive. So... It really is a stay alive build, just, try and keep everything alive. Oh, here's a nice stack of them. But this is what I mean with, the flame skills. You can just, go through a couple of these really quick. But you notice it is not like a damage heavy build. It is very much designed to, you know, just keep you alive. Come on. This is a keep alive build. It really is just keeping alive and just... That's really what it's designed to do, is just keep you alive. I mean, I am not... This boss is healing as I'm going here. So, as for potions, I'm using tripods, specifically crown ones, just so I have that extra boost. Come on. You stop, you stop, you stop, you go away, and you can do that. Take a potion. But yeah, this build is really designed for just surviving, and that's really what I just wanted to do, is just be a big survival build. More than anything. So, someone's apparently going to try and help me here. After this, we'll take it into a quick run with Infinite Archive here. And then I'll actually show a little bit more of how it works out of that. But this is where, you know, being able to stand in bed really helps, because it's, with every time we take a hit, we get another stack of the stuff off Void Collar. And then just remembering to keep your damage over times involved, so. There we go. Recover some health back. And this is where we can, oh come on, break free. Yeah, you know, right towards the end there we could actually see where Void Collar really came into effect. So, anyways, pardon me here. Distractions abound. So, anyways, let's actually run this into Infinite Archive, and that will probably show it a little bit better. So, but as you can tell, it is a very tanky build. It's designed to, you know, tank and spank damage. It's just a take hits, dish them out. It's not the biggest DPS. It's definitely a tank build, I'm going to be honest. So, but we'll go up to the first boss in Infinite Archive here and just sort of show it in its actual setting it was designed for. There we go. So, yeah, this is the Improbable DK. Something that I created sort of on a whim, just to see what would happen. But yeah. But if you catch this, you know, couple green numbers, that's all the healing I'm getting as I'm fighting. So. And you win for the point of annoying me. And especially in these early rounds, you don't need to rely on degeneration as much. But as it goes on, it becomes much more critical. Like putting it on the big bad guy like a spell sword. And then just spamming like that guy. And then, you know, you can tank a little bit of the damage and whatnot. So. You can flip around some stuff, say you want a little bit more stamina recovery or magic recovery. Flip it around to fit your needs. This build is by no means perfected. This is just what happened to get me to a 3-1-1 solo, which is my best solo run, and then a 5-2-1 running with a fellow ESO player and friend and streamer, Magica. So, whatever. I'm not terribly worried about this right now, so... Alright, same thing. But the ones at long range, I tend to put my stuff on. Anyone close up to, I tend to worry about. So... Also, I have come to utterly despise hags in this game now. So, there we go. And then we've got a big bear. And a fire druid. Okay, that's fun. But this is where, you know, all the, you know, this is where the big flame skill can be. There we go. Yeah, this is sort of where the build takes its thing, is just sort of being in the middle of damage and just taking it. So, I'm just going to do this real quick. Do that. And then, yeah, that'll work. So, we'll take this up to the first boss and go from there.
Told me to
I can't remember this boss, so.
but I think you can handle this.
But yeah, the more you hit, the better damage you do. You know, in between everything, throwing a couple heavy attacks to keep your, you know, skills up. Keep your damage shield, and you know, this is sort of the build in a nutshell. It's really designed to just take damage and keep going. I mean, this boss is not terrible. This is not the hardest one I could have fought. But it is something to show what it's about. Anyways, he's about done. Just finished powering through him, and maybe we'll do another round or two just so you guys can continue to see the Improbable DK in action.
There are no books up here.
So,
I'm too smart for that. Smart enough to take the fragment to Malchest as well.
Whatever. I'm not terribly worried. I'm not doing this as, you know, a tried run or anything, so. Anyways, green dragon blood, pop the heal. I'm also finding the ranged guys are like the most annoying thing in these dungeons, so. But, you know, hit them both for this, and then Force Pulse will take them both down. Reapply the shield, reapply everything. Imps. Probably the biggest thing you'll have to deal with. At least with this build, so. Alright, and then we've got... Where's the big guy? There he is. A little extra armor. But yeah, no, this build is really designed around being just tanky and being able to take a hit without carrying. Because it's... I'm not trying overly hard, and I've got some, you know, decent health recovery. So...
This is the perfect spot to create the next portal. It has the best temporal elasticity.
That's really what I designed it, what I was trying to design for, was just super tanky, super, you know, powerful and annoying to kill. But that's, you know, that's sort of where the engulfing flames is really useful, is just tackling multiple enemies at once. Where they're spawning? Up here. Okay. Recover a little health. These are just some dogs. Do that. Just do a nice couple, you know, big hits on them. Recover your Magica for the final round. Alright, where's the big bad guy? Sometimes you get him, sometimes you don't. But yeah, no, this is where this build shines is just doing big damage, or taking big damage and slowly gaining power.
That was
So.
fantastic. Truly a battle worth witnessing.
Alright. One or two more, we'll get up. There we go, this guy should give me a bit of a fight.
Fear you,
So,
but I doubt they can fear.
Currently with the Swift Gale thing, I've got, some really beefy stuff. But I'm just literally sitting here tanking the damage, repopping my stuff to have my shields and whatnot. And, look at that damage I can just take. Fairly solid build. So. Come on, spawn.
I've come to retrieve the mimic fragment. Carry on.
Alright, anyways. We'll go one or two more rounds, maybe to throw out just so you can see it in action a little bit. That's really all this is just showing you how I was playing it, so. Alright. There we go. I'm being a little careless here. I'm just trying to keep my damage shield up for the most part. But, so I can stand, in the fire and, take the hits, which is nice. Put the thing on the big guy. Then we've got a whole bunch of folks coming in close. Put a nice little debuff on all of them. Get out of the main attack thing. Get some resources back. And then look at that. Didn't have to pop the yoke, just heavy attack to my heart's content, and it was done. There we go. So, let's see here.
Fighters don't get rewards. Our work is always satisfactory.
That's what it's useful.
Therefore, it don't reward.
Anyways, I know this is a little boring to watch, and this is me mostly concentrating. As you notice, I do things occasionally out of order. So. It is what it is. I try to show that this can be played, multiple ways, even in panic mode. So. Alright, there's that. That was not what I wanted to hit with that, but whatever. But yeah. Alrighty. Almost got it. This is the last round, then we should be to... Yeah, we'll do this one and then we'll call it good for the day. I don't care, I have some guys to fight me with. Just get away from me. But yeah, look at that. I can sit there and every little bit of damage I do heals me. So, really designed to be just a tanky build and something to be really annoying with, so.
Oh, nearly. That's good then.
So. Anyways, I'm going to do this real quick, and then we'll call it there. Actually, this is the boss. We'll at least take out the boss, so. Take out the boss and then call it there. I don't know this boss, so I'm just going to try and burn him down as fast as I can. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm being a little careless, I'm standing in bad, but I am healing as fast as I'm going. And this is where the one skill is useful, because you can just, burn down everyone like that in a big pile. So, put the thing back on, put the shield on, do that, do some heavy attacks to restore some resources, and then, continue to try and burn down, pop a potion if you need to, reapply the damage over times, and I never use that guy. Anyways, that is the build in a nutshell. So, anyways, we will wrap this up, and
Mortals always need something.
yeah, we will pop out of here and head back to the house. Head back to the house real quick, and we will call it good. But this is the basics of how this class works. This is my, Improbable DK. It has survived, it has survived more than I was going to ever think it would. So, there we go. Get back to the house, and I'll wrap it up there. So, yeah. I know it's a little rambling. I probably didn't need to show it working, but I wanted to show at least what I came up with and sort of my thought process and why I built it the way I did for my playstyle. But the Improbable DK is my goofy build. This is my first Theorycraft build in years, and just turned out to be a nice little, just a nice little goofy build. It's very much based around the DK's tankiness, but has decent damage for doing the archive, and can, go in far enough to get the achievement. Yeah, you might have to work a little bit because you don't have, this, scribing and whatnot to help out with some of the better buffed skills, but it's a hell of a solid build to start with. Easy to get stuff, and that's where it is. Anyways, that's the Improbable DK. I will catch most everyone later. Thank you for putting up with this. I'm also now streaming on Twitch twice a week, mostly doing Farm Simulator or Euro Truck or American Truck simulators. So that's Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Mountain. Anyways, have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.